Hi, welcome to this week's video. We've got a bit of a classic today. So we're going to teach you how we do our swirl roses. I think a lot of people do struggle, don't they? We find that in our classes that we do.
Yeah, I think there's an element of people struggling with it, but also I think they're just so satisfying to watch when you see them being piped.
Especially when they're two-toned.
They literally get the most views ever on our social media channels. Whenever we put a video up, either from one of our classes or showing how to do it, it does get literally loads and loads of views. So we thought we'd dedicate a video to it today.
Show you our technique.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to show you a couple of things, aren't we, today? We're going to show you how to produce a two-tone swirl rose. And I think if you're just starting out and you haven't piped anything like this before, it's one of those things, once you've got the knack, they're like super easy and super quick to pipe, but you do see a lot of people piping them wrong. Yes. And also I think it's about the consistency of the buttercream as well, isn't it? You don't need it to be, it's sort of medium consistency, I'd say, not too soft, but you don't need it to be really hard. So obviously you don't want to be like really squeezing your hand. They're hard enough to pipe because you have to pipe them all in one go.
Yeah, so you're going to be going all the way around in one go, so you've got to make sure you've got enough in the bag to go right to the very end. But yeah, you can't stop. So we'll show you what we do.
Yeah, we're going to show you. But first of all, we're going to show you how to two-tone the bag so that we get these lovely two-colour swirl roses. So for this one, you use this 2D nozzle, okay? This is a pretty standard nozzle that you will get in most, if you buy a set of nozzles, this is very likely to be in it. You can use it for a couple of different flowers, but a swirl rose is an absolute classic that you would use for this nozzle. So hopefully if you have got a kit, you've always been wondering what to do with it, this is your swirl rose nozzle. So the only thing you need to make sure of when you pop it in your piping bag is when you cut the bag, you need to make sure that all of the little, I'm not really sure what to call these, like the little indents, would you say?
Yeah, spikes.
So you can see I've actually cut that a little bit with the plastic is just slightly over a couple of those. So if you do that, it's important that you push the nozzle back down and just trim off a little bit more, because what's going to happen is if those little indents aren't clear of the bag, that's better, then the rose won't come out properly, because obviously the bag will be impeding the buttercream coming out. Okay, so once it's in your bag and you're happy with that, just turn the bag down and it makes it easier to add the buttercream to it. And at this stage, you can either hold it in your hand to add the buttercream, or you can use a glass. And you would just put that over like that, but I do prefer to hold it in my hand.
I hold it in my hand as well, but whatever you find easier. So a lot of people do like using the glass because it is like having another pair of hands to help you, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But if I am using my hand, I tend to try, and you just need a small palette knife, and I would say you only need to get a little bit on the palette knife each time. If you get too much, it ends up like claggy and it all sticks together,
the bag starts sticking together as well.
But it's a good idea if you just use your hand that you're holding the bag in and rotate it round. So when you're spreading the buttercream up the inside of the bag, it's kind of resting on your hand, so you've got some resistance to it.
This makes it a bit easier, doesn't it?
I'll show you what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm just lining the inside of this bag, and I'm going to go all the way round. I'm going to do it quite slowly because I don't want to get in a muddle with it and it will start sticking together, which can happen. So just keep, a little bit at a time, go all the way around, and you want to add this quite evenly so that you end up with the whole of the inside of the bag coated, leaving a gap in the middle.
They look so pretty when they're two-toned.
Yeah, and you can do these in any colour actually. We're showing you like a sort of quite a strong pink, and then we'll put some plain buttercream in the middle. But you can even do them with more of a subtle shade, like if you were doing a subtle shade of pink, and you would get a softer look. But as I say, we're doing it quite bold today, just so that you can see the full effect.
On the camera.
So I'm just going to show you what that looks like now I've finished. Can you see I've just gone for a thin layer all the way round, and then I'm going to add a spoonful of the plain buttercream here. You do need quite a good spoonful for this, so this is just a dessert spoon. pop that in. I might even put a slight bit more, because when you pipe these, you do need to do it in one complete motion. So if you haven't got enough buttercream to do one swirl rose, you're going to struggle.
Yeah, you will.
Right, so I'm going to push that in, push it all the way down. I'm just going to double check. You might want to just squeeze out the end.
You look like
Oh, look at that. To make sure what we're laughing at there is quite sometimes when you do this, all the pink goes down into the nozzle or the white. So when you start doing your swirl rose, it's really annoying because you'll get like a solid colour and not the two-tone from the middle, which is what you want.
Out
so just normally squeeze a little bit out. I'm now going to just hand it to Michelle, who's going to demonstrate exactly how you pipe a swirl rose. And we're going to do it nice and slowly. We're going to give you the step-by-step instructions.
Yes,
so you can hopefully have a go at this at home.
Yeah, and it's great, this colour, because you can be able to see what we're doing. So just to show you what I'm going to be doing, actually I can use this, I'm going to touch the cupcake, I'm going to squeeze a little bit out, then I'm going to lift it up, and I'm going to lift it up quite high, and then I'm going to drape it all the way around until I get to the very end without stopping. So with this one, you need a really tight bag, and the reason you need a tight bag is because you are going to be continually squeezing all the way round, so you need to make sure that it's nice and tight so you've got enough oomph to keep squeezing.
Yeah, because if the bag isn't tight, the buttercream not only is going to come out the nozzle, it's going to start creeping back up the bag.
It does.
So you're not going to get the full pressure that you need. Yeah.
So we're going to start in the middle of the cupcake. I'm going to touch it, squeeze a little bit out, lift it and drape it. So I've touched the cupcake so it sticks, it's in the middle.
You don't want to pipe a perfect one and then it falls off.
No.
Which can happen.
And this is a bit of a different angle to what I'm used to doing, so you'll have to bear with me. So I've touched the cupcake, squeeze a little bit out so it sticks. I'm going to lift it, but I'm continually squeezing, and I keep squeezing. I haven't stopped squeezing. You want to just let that fall all the way round.
And you're about an inch above the cake,
I
if
am,
not 2 inches actually.
I want it to drape behind me, and that causes that lovely swirl effect. And then when I get to where I started, I'm just going to pull it off. So you do it nice and slowly.
Looks good.
See those two colours, they look beautiful. So you do it nice and slowly, just keep squeezing all the way round. Don't stop squeezing until you've come to the end, and then you can just pull it off. Now what we can do with this as well is we can just tidy that little bit up there where I've come off by just adding a little tulip. So I've got like a mini Russian nozzle here.
I mean, you can leave these like this,
they
just
look
add
lovely.
leaves, but we're just showing you
some different ways.
how you can just add sort of to elevate them a little bit, really, isn't it?
So if we touch the nozzle to the buttercream so it sticks, because all of these little bits in the nozzle need to stick to here. So I'm going to just decide where I'm putting it, touch the buttercream, squeeze, 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 stop squeezing, and as I stop squeezing I'm pulling off. And then we've just got a lovely little tulip on the side, but we're not going to stop there. We are going to just add 2 little mounds either side, because I think that looks really pretty. So I've just changed it to a round nozzle on my green. I'm just going to touch the buttercream, squeeze, a little mound's going to come out, stop squeezing and then pull off. And then the reason I stop squeezing before I pull off is because I don't want it all elongated up and very tall stemmed. We just want some round sort of blobs really. And then with my star nozzle, I'm just going to add a few little bits of blossom. I'm going to leave a little gap so I can see a little bit of the green. I think that always looks nice to you.
Yeah. I tend to do it like either leave definite gaps or cover the whole thing, depending on the look I'm going for.
Yeah, I'm the same actually,
depending
on what you're looking for. But this one, I want to see a bit of green. So I've done that very quickly, but what you want to do is when you're doing your blossom is touch where you want it, squeeze a little bit out, stop squeezing and then pull off. It's exactly the same process of when we did the mounds. And then with my leaf nozzle,
we're still not finished. We're still adding.
Is there anything else we can add?
I mean, you don't have to add these blossom
balls.
We're just showing you can just
options.
add some leaves around the tulip, but yeah, just trying to show you how to add some detail to it really.
And then we're just going to add some leaves. Just do one either side of the blossom and then a couple here. And then that has just finished it off nicely. So that'll look really pretty if you're either putting it in a bouquet or in a box. And then you can have a mixture. You can have some with the blossom and the tulip and some plain. But they do look really pretty.
It's quite nice to add the tulip if you've got a set of cupcakes and maybe you've got another cupcake that's got tulips.
Yes, it all
maybe
ties it in.
Yeah, it helps just pull everything together if you've got some common elements. So you can see how we've done like the two-tone swirl, which looks lovely, but they do equally look good if you just pipe them in one colour, which I'm just going to show you now. So we've just got this lovely kind of orangey colour. I've got enough to do one actually, because what I'm going to show you now is I'm not going to do one big swirl rose. You can do smaller swirl roses, so you might want to add just one as a filler onto a cupcake where you've got other elements, or you can put 3 swirl roses together. And because these are smaller, you might find they're a little bit easier for you to pipe, especially if you're struggling to keep going to do the whole one. These can be a good way of just practicing the action without sort of having to keep going quite so long. So I've got enough in here to do one, and then I'll refill the bag. So I'm going to get 3 mini swirl roses onto this cupcake. So instead of starting in the middle, I'm going to start between the middle and the outside of the cupcake. So you can just pick a place, it doesn't matter where, and it's exactly the same process. So I'm going to squeeze some out so it sticks. I'm going to lift up my hand and I'm going to come round. I'm going actually anti-clockwise here, all the way around, and then when I get to the point that I want to finish, I'm just going to stop squeezing, and then that just finishes it off, and then we can always put some extra bits on to mask that messy edge. Okay, so that's my first one done.
These are great to get practicing to do it.
I think so, yeah.
And then once you've learned, you know, and you feel more confident doing them, then you can look to two-tone your bags. But yeah, it's a great way, isn't
or you could do a whole box of swirl roses with different toppings on them type of thing, or different colours.
Yes, different colours look beautiful.
So you could have fun trying out different options, or a mix of the large ones and the small ones.
That looks always nice, isn't it?
Yeah, because I think once you've worked out the technique of these, they're a really nice, quick, easy flower to do. So I'm going to start, sort of, imagine this, splitting this into 2. I'm going to just start at the back here. And it doesn't matter if these overlap. So same again, stick it down, lift up, and then just rotate round. As I say, I'm going anti-clockwise, but you can go either which way. And obviously if you're left or right-handed, that might dictate which way you prefer to go. But there's the second one done. And then I'm going to put one final one in the middle here. So I'm going to go in the centre of this gap that I've left, and this one's going to kind of come over the 2 that I've already piped. So I'm going to try and do it backwards a little bit so you can see. I'm going to stick it down, raise my hand, and then rotate round. It's weird doing it away from you, isn't it?
It is hard, yeah.
There we go.
Do it a lot closer.
So you can see it's really pretty actually, and even just having the one colour, it still gives you quite a nice texture to it, which is important. Now you could either just add some leaves, or if you've got bigger gaps, you can do the same as we did on the large. You can add some little blossom balls. I've certainly got a little gap in here, so like Michelle showed you, it's just squeeze, and then I'm going to stop squeezing before I lift off my hand, so I get a little round shape rather than a sort of tall stem. And then we've just got a little closed star nozzle. I think this is a 16. These come in all different,
get different sizes.
It doesn't really matter, but it's a closed star that you need to look for. And then I'm just going to add some little blossom bits on here, and again I'm squeezing, stop squeezing, then I'm lifting off my hand, so I'm not continually squeezing while I'm raising my hand, because I want these to be kind of fairly flat little blossom shapes. So it might seem like I'm going a bit quicker than you need to go to start with.
It's lovely with the orange, isn't it, the white?
I think it does, yeah. I think
really pretty.
I do quite like to add white in some way, because it just seems to give it that pop, doesn't it? Cuts through whatever other colours you're doing. So there we go, that's my blossom added. And then finally we will pop some leaves on there. just really elevates it, doesn't it?
They're really pretty.
I have got a little bit of a messy edge, if you can see here where I finished. So I'm going to put a leaf over that, so you can just go over the top, and that will just cover up any bits that you don't think are tidy enough.
That's the great thing with leaves and blossom.
Here.
You can just hide anything with them. So if you do make a mistake or you've got something a bit messy, just stick a leaf over it or a bit of blossom.
Don't be too keen to scrape everything off. We do see that quite a lot, don't we?
Yeah.
Put on the middle or leave it?
I would leave it.
Leave it,
It's
okay.
lovely.
We do like adding lots of leaves. So there you go. That's your like mini swirl roses, which could be a good one for you to start with.
Yeah, they're gorgeous, aren't they?
Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed that video. We look forward to sort of hearing how you get on. If you've got any questions, just let us know. And also make sure you're watching next week, because we've got a video with all our top tips about dealing with the worst bit of the job, which is
Clearing up.
clearing up. So it's
And what we do.
Exactly. So you're not going to want to miss that one.